Just curious, a lot of the guys seem to have the potential to play both sides of the ball. A couple of them, like Christian and Makai, who got introduced as defensive backs. How do you, from a wide receivers coach standpoint, kind of handle that both on the recruiting trail and then once they get to campus?
We ask them what they want to play, and if they say defense or they say offense, then we're going to try to make that happen. And if they say maybe a combination of both, then we'll try to make that happen as well. Coach Franklin talked about how multiple coaches will recruit a prospect, and so with Christian and Makai, it's been myself, Coach Smith, and Coach Dex. We've all been involved in that recruiting, and at the end of the day, they both said, I want to help the team. And so if that happens to be at DB, if it happens to be at wide receiver, then that's where it would be. I think Makai is leaning more towards sees himself more as a defensive player, and Christian really is kind of a little bit of both.
Go to John Sauber. T. Frank, you're next.
Hey, Taylor, how are you?
Doing well, John. Thanks.
So this is obviously a pretty good offensive class for you guys. I think it's the first time in James's tenure that you brought in 2 4-star running backs, 2 4-star wideouts, and a 5-star quarterback. Do you think this can be a cornerstone type class for you guys?
I do. I actually really do. This class is special in more ways than just how many stars they have. This class has they've stuck together. They've stuck together for a long time. There were multiple times when other programs, knowing that they were committed to us, hit them up, try to do silent visits, try to do some sneaky stuff behind our backs. And luckily, we have built some really good relationships. Luckily, the guys built relationships with each other that they held true. They held true to their word as well as we held true to our word. So,
Omari, I apologize if you hit on Omari Evans. He was somebody who James hit on a little bit, man. Plays quarterback and doesn't really play wide receiver. So I'm just, how important was that camp? And then also, like, what do you get out of quarterback film and things of that sort to realize how well he could play at wide receiver?
Yeah, so like the whole story with Omari is it's interesting because Coach Yurcich had saw him run a fast time, saw a couple Twitter videos, and he told me like 3 days before Omari was going to come, hey, this kid's going to come, and I was really skeptical because we have a lot of guys that come to camp, and some guys say that they run this, some guys say they run that, and then when they get here, it's not the case. Mm-hmm. So I remember during the testing, I kind of stood back, was just watching. He gets to the 40, and he runs one. And it was like 4.34. I was like, okay, let me get a watch. Let me get a watch. Let me verify this. And so then we ended up having like just a decent amount of watches out there to try to make sure that we got the right times. And so I end up timing it as well, and we all got a really fast time. Then we went to the workout, and he caught the ball really well. He tracked the deep ball well. He was still kind of raw on some of his route running. There are some basic things that he did really, really well. We got to some of the more complex ones. There's going to be work there. But he showed us everything that you would want to see in terms of a personal workout. He showed speed. He showed he could catch. He showed explosiveness out of his break. And so then when you look at his high school film, which was him at quarterback, what you're looking for, obviously you're not going to see no route running. You weren't seeing any of that. But shoot, he's catching the snap every single play. He's got the ball in his hand every single play. His head coach believed in him in terms of his intellect and his ability that put him back at quarterback the entire time. And so you could see when teams would account for him, they wouldn't let him do the whole zone read, pull it, and run. There are a few teams that allow him to do it And I think one of his last few games, you saw him, I think, rush for, close to 200 yards where you could see some of the burst that we saw in person. So he's gonna have some developing to do, but in terms of just what you initially look for, I mean, he had it.
Thanks, man.
Muted myself. John Sauber, Andrew Clay, you're next.
Taylor, James mentioned about how Jerry Cross committed pretty early and sort of you guys pumped the brakes a little bit to get him to slow it down and make sure he knew the commitment he was making. Did you expect to have him commit that early when you guys put that offer out there? And were you surprised that he kind of stuck through it, given that he had never seen campus before he made the decision?
It was a new experience for us as well. Caden, some of these guys that we had been offered, and they had already been to campus. Like Caden, he had already been to campus. So there had already been a relationship built. We knew that he had been to campus already. We knew that he had seen some things. And so one thing that we try to do for ourselves and for the players, we want to make sure that everybody is completely on board, because the commitment process can end up being a long time, and you can get distracted by flashy things or a text message from this program or a call from this program. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to just slow it down just a moment. Okay, let's have a couple Zoom meetings so that we can do some facility and campus tours as far as Zoom. Let's do a couple, department meetings. And it really changed the game a little bit for us in terms of what we needed to make sure we were doing in terms of the whole COVID time. And so we were able to get and prepare a lot of presentations that we were able to show to Jerry, and Jerry was able to feel confident in his decision, and he stuck with us. We stuck with him. He stuck with us, and it's been awesome to once again to see these guys interact with one another and see how special they are.
Andrew Clay, Max Ralph, you're next.
Hey, Coach, Andrew Clay, WTAJ in Altoona. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Coach Franklin said something along the lines of, one of the positions of need that you still may want to try to add is at the wide receiver position. He talked about both, maybe in the transfer portal or as well as adding someone in the next signing session. What is the priority? How do you prioritize what kind of player you're looking at if you do want to add a receiver? And is experience a high priority for you guys in maybe adding to your position group?
Yeah, we're looking for difference makers. In terms of the transfer portal, we're not looking for somebody just to add depth. We're going to look for somebody who can be dynamic. And you want somebody who is has shown production. You want somebody who is ideally is leaving on good terms. And so, you're just trying to find somebody who's going to also be the best fit. Because I feel like I got a pretty good room, and I feel like we've done a decent job over the last few years of getting guys in here that have the mindset that we're looking for. And, we got some experienced guys coming back, and we need to continue to build on this room. We did that with this 22 signing class. And so, if we go into the transfer portal, if we look for somebody else, we all have to agree that he can be a difference maker.
Max Ralph, then Ryan Snyder.
Kind of piggyback off of the transfer portal and second signing day thing. Do you think, in terms of the wide receiver room, do you think you're looking more for another piece in the slot maybe, or on the outside? Do you kind of have an idea of maybe what's more of a need right now?
Yeah, once again, when talking a little bit about the guys that we signed already and, their measurables, and we're looking for somebody who can do it all. And seriously, if you look at the National Football League, the best players are the ones that can play outside, inside, number 3, number 1, singled up. I mean, they can do it all. And that's what we're looking for. I mean, don't get me wrong. A taller guy has got to have great body control and got to have a huge catch radius. A smaller guy better be as quick as a hiccup, right? I mean, those are things that can set those guys apart with absolutely elite character traits in those separate categories. And then, or you're looking for somebody who can do both. And so, yeah, that's what we're looking for. We're going to look for a difference maker in a dynamic way.
Ryan Snyder?
Yeah. Taylor, I apologize if you hit on these two already. I like I said, I had to cut off for a second. Anthony Ivy, Tyler Johnson, especially Tyler Johnson. You know, I know he put up some really good camp numbers for you guys. I think he had like a 4.2 shuttle or something like that. Just his recruitment. I feel like he's just a really underrated player right now by scouting services. I think you guys feel that way too.
Yeah. So you know, he's somebody who you know, there's some guys around the office that had shot his film our way and shot his film my way. And I remember watching it and I was like this guy. I really like this guy.
Yeah.
And then I had my graduate assistant. I said, watch this kid. And he watched him and he was like, golly, there's a lot to like about this kid. So then we start investigating more. Then we invite him up to camp, right? And because, yeah, you're concerned because he wasn't on a lot of the recruiting radars. You find out that he really didn't go to any combines or rivals camps or any of the big things. And so his name wasn't out there. And going to his hometown, it's a small place. Mm-hmm. And so he came there, he ran, I think, in the low 4.4s, caught the heck out of the ball. He is smooth, man. I can't reiterate that enough. Like, you see him out there on the basketball court. There were multiple times where it looked like he was going to do a nasty, nasty dunk on somebody, and it just surprised you. He was going through the lane and raised up, and then he finger rolled, but in warm-ups, he's over there just dunking like he's a freaking NBA all-star. So he is under the radar. But the good thing is that we try to put all the pieces together. He had the film. He came to camp. He ran well, and he performed well. So we're going to trust our judgment on him. And there's absolutely a lot to like about him. His family is absolutely awesome, and we're glad to have him.
Thanks.
Tyler Donahue, then John Sauber.
Taylor, if I could go back to Jerry Cross, I know you were talking about that recruitment a little bit, but how about the prospect? I think when he committed to you guys, he was maybe 30 plus pounds lighter. Where is he in his development as a tight end, and how do you think he fits into plans here in 2022?
Oh, he's a grown man. I mean, that dude is big. He is a big dude. You know, we went and had a home visit with him, and there was part of the basement that kind of hangs a little bit low, and he was talking about how he's bumped his head on that many a time. So he's tall, he's big, I don't even know exactly what he is. 255, I think we got him at right now. He can move, he can high point the ball. He has some nastiness to him. So it's going to be excited for him, it's going to be exciting to get him here and fine tune the techniques of being a tight end. You know, for the most part, he's been out there just doing things naturally. And now he's going to get coached up by Coach Howe and our offensive staff, and it's going to be great to see him grow.
We have time for two more. We'll go to John Sauber, and then we'll finish with Ryan Snyder.
Taylor, how much does having quarterbacks in your class like Drew and Bo help recruit other skill positions and other positions in general?
Yeah, I mean, typically the quarterbacks are leaders. You know, they're leaders when they get here. Cliff is a great example of being a leader. And so those two guys, you know, Bo had been committed for the longest time, and he busted his tail in terms of recruiting. And then when people watch his film, they're like, gosh dang, this dude can go. And then when we picked up Drew, it was like, well, okay, wow. All right, wow. These wide receivers, and I know firsthand on this, you want to go to a place, you want to be a part of programs where there are really, really good quarterbacks. Because then that means, you know, you can make an easier catch instead of a harder catch. And so we believe that we have two really, really, really good quarterbacks, and it's going to be exciting to see them grow, see them compete, and just bring this class together and eventually become leaders on the team.
And we'll finish with Ryan Snyder.
Taylor, do you know? Have you watched much of Drew Shelton?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, shoot, it's a big joker there now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody's really hit on him. I don't think anybody hit on him in Franklin's. I just, tackle's an incredibly important position. He's, probably your most polished tackle. I mean, just kind of what he brings and what you've seen from him, and I don't know what your relationship's like with him, but he seems like a pretty important recruit for you guys moving forward.
Yeah, his family's awesome. His mom, his sister, they've been up quite a bit. He's been one of the other guys who's been committed to us for a long time. If you really think about it, it's hard to keep committed for as long as this 22 class has been committed. I mean, it's hard to do. But Drew goes down to IMG, go to a place that everybody knows that place hit up all the time. And IMG did a good job when he was down there. They did kind of some virtual combine type stuff. And feet are light. You can tell he's powerful. He's long. He's athletic. He's playing basketball. So he has the traits that you're looking for to be an elite tackle.
Awesome. Appreciate you, man.
No problem.
Thanks, Coach.